Listen closely. What you're about to hear could save you months, maybe even years of confusion, second guessing, and emotional fatigue. We've all been there. Someone says something that feels off, but you brush it aside. You want to be understanding, patient, maybe even cool. But days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, and suddenly you're tangled in something that no longer feels like choice, but survival. That's why today we're unpacking 5 phrases that, when spoken by a man, deserve your attention. Not panic, but pause. These are not instant verdicts. They're signals, invitations to observe patterns, test integrity, and make aligned decisions. The last one? It's subtle. It's the one most women miss because it often comes wrapped in concern or nostalgia. But if ignored, it can cost you your future. Now let's be clear. Stoic wisdom doesn't deal in drama. It deals in discernment. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. These words aren't meant to label someone else. They're tools to clarify your reality and protect your peace. You don't control his behavior. You control your standards, your choices, your exit. Because red flags aren't warnings about him. They're reflections of what you'll allow. Let's begin. Stoic wisdom, the operating system. Before we dive into the 5 phrases, we need to set the foundation, because red flags mean nothing if you're not equipped to use them wisely. Stoicism isn't about being cold or passive. It's about choosing calm over chaos, clarity over reaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, here's how we build that power: through discernment. In Stoic thought, there are 3 categories of things: good, bad, and indifferent. A sentence, on its own, is indifferent. It's just words in the air. What matters is pattern. What matters is impact. What matters is whether those words honor or erode your dignity over time. This is where we practice the discipline of perception. When someone says something triggering, you don't have to instantly believe your first emotional reaction. That's your impression, not your decision. Epictetus reminds us, don't let the force of an impression when it first hits you knock you off your feet. Pause. Pause. Observe. Track the behavior, not just the incident. Stoic discernment is calm, firm, and evidence-based. Remember, we don't weaponize red flags, we clarify through them. Every phrase we'll cover next is just a signal, but how he responds after you clarify, that's the story that matters.
1. You're too sensitive. On the surface, it sounds like feedback. In practice, it often functions like a switch that flips your self-doubt on. The phrase tells you, your reaction makes me uncomfortable, and I'd rather question your perception than examine my behavior. That's why it's a red flag. Not because it's always malicious, but because it quietly trains you to distrust your own reality. Here's what's often happening underneath. He's testing whether you'll trade your emotional intelligence for his comfort. He's checking if you'll shrink to make him feel bigger. He's moving the conversation from impact, that hurt, to label, you're too much, which is a clever way of dodging accountability. The most dangerous part is not the sentence itself. It's the seed of self-doubt it plants. One sentence becomes a pattern. You start auditing your emotions in real time, asking, am I overreacting? So often that you stop naming what hurts. You stop asking precise questions. You fall silent and mistake that silence for peace. Stoic reframe. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the presence of clarity. The question isn't, am I too sensitive? The question is, what exactly happened? How did it land? And what standard do I require going forward? A calm, stoic response you can use. When you hear you're too sensitive, try this. My feelings are data. If you're open, let's discuss specifics. If my feelings keep getting dismissed, I'll step back. Why it works. My feelings are data removes shame and invites shared reality. Discuss specifics moves from vague labels to observables. I'll step back states a boundary without drama. If you prefer something even shorter in the moment, I'm naming impact, not assigning intent. Can we talk about what happened, not my sensitivity level? This keeps the focus on behavior and impact, where change is possible. The 3-strike rule. Clear, fair, enforceable. Emotions run high, people stumble. Give room for repair, but also give yourself an exit if the pattern persists. 1. First time, clarify. When you said X, it felt dismissive because Y. Here's what I needed instead. Your goal is precision. What was said, how it landed, what would help next time. 2. Second time, request a shift. When I share something vulnerable, I need curiosity, not critique. Can you ask me 2 questions before you offer solutions or labels? Your goal is behavioral change. Make the asks small, concrete, measurable. 3. Third time, decide. If this pattern continues, I'll need distance to protect my clarity. Your goal is self-respect. You're not punishing. You're protecting your peace. A stoic boundary is calm, consistent, and enforceable. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't escalate. It simply states what you do and don't participate in. Metrics for curiosity, because what gets measured improves. Don't guess. Track. Over the next 2 weeks, notice. Questions asked. Does he ask clarifying questions when you share? What did that feel like? What mattered most there? Or does he pivot to defending himself? Paraphrase attempts. Does he reflect your words back? So you felt sidelined in that meeting? Or does he minimize? It wasn't a big deal. Repair behavior. When he misses the mark, does he circle back to repair? I thought about what you said. Here's what I'll try next time. Ownership versus deflection. Does he focus on impact he can control or on labels about you? If the numbers don't shift, your decision becomes easier, not colder, just clearer. Journaling frame. Turn feelings into clarity. Use this simple, repeatable template. What was said? Exact words. Keep a receipts mindset, not a revenge mindset. What did I feel? One word, if possible. Dismissed, anxious, small. What do I need next time? A specific behavior. Ask one question before responding. What's my review date? In 7 days, did anything change? If not, what boundary activates? This is how you convert a gut feeling into a decision you can stand on. You become, in Stoic terms, the chief executive of your attention. You don't outsource your reality to someone who finds it inconvenient. Why this matters more than just feelings. The partner you choose doesn't only touch your heart. He touches your career. Does he belittle your ambition or support it? Your friendships? Does he isolate you or celebrate your circle? Your family connections, your financial future, and your health. Chronic stress is not theoretical. Pick wrong, and you spend years in recovery. Pick right, or better, learn to exit wrong quickly, and you create space for a life that compounds upward. This is why recognizing language patterns matters. Some men are, consciously or not, boundary testers. They use phrases that nudge you toward self-doubt so they can keep the comfort of their habits. Others are teachable. The difference shows up not in their charm, but in their response to your clarity. Micro skills you can practice this week. The one breath pause. When you feel that hot flush of "I'm being dismissed," inhale, exhale, and say, "Give me a second. I want to get specific." This buys you time and shifts you from reaction to response. Name impact in one sentence. That comment landed as dismissive for me. One sentence is powerful. A speech sounds like a trial. Make the smallest request. Ask me one question before offering a label. You're not asking for a personality transplant. You're requesting a micro behavior. Exit without theater. I'm going to step away and finish this tomorrow. Distance is not a weapon. It's a tool for clarity. The Stoic backbone behind all of this. Stoicism teaches the dichotomy of control. What's up to you, your judgments, your choices, your boundaries, and what's not, other people's impulses, the past. When someone calls you too sensitive, they're trying, intentionally or not, to lure you into defending something undefendable. Your right to feel. You don't have to take that bait. You can move the conversation back to facts and standards. Fact, you said X. Impact, it landed as Y. Standard, in my relationships, I need Z. Consequence, if Z isn't possible, I'll step back. That's Stoicism in action. Not coldness, but order. Not apathy, but agency. If you watching this on a tired evening, you are not too sensitive. You are attuned. You are reading the room your body lives in. That is a strength. The goal here isn't to win an argument about labels. It's to recenter the conversation on impact and standards so you can decide calmly, cleanly, what belongs in your life. So the next time you hear it, take that breath. Remember, feelings are data, patterns are evidence, boundaries are love in public. Say your one sentence, make your small request, set your review date, and if the pattern persists, choose distance without drama. The impediment becomes the way, not because you hardened, but because you chose intentional clarity. If you found this useful, hit like and stick around for part 2. We'll break down the next phrase and equip you with responses you can use the moment you hear them. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your heart. It's about giving it a wise, steady driver. You. 2. I'm just being honest. The phrase that turns cruelty into a virtue costume. I'm just being honest. If part 1 was about gaslighting your perception, you're too sensitive. Part 2 is about weaponizing morality. Honesty is a beautiful value until it's used as a shield to dodge accountability or to keep you small. Before we dive in, a reminder. The point of this series isn't to demonize men or to train you to argue better. It's to help you see patterns, protect your clarity, and choose partners who can meet you with respect. Stoicism gives us the backbone here. We don't control other people's impulses. We do control our standards and responses. The cost of honesty without humanity. Many women who've endured chronic dismissal eventually realize they've lost touch with their own emotional compass. Years later, they're rebuilding a relationship with their feelings because for too long, every feeling was treated like a flaw. That's not emotional strength. That's emotional erosion. It happens when we normalize cutting words as truth and tell ourselves that's just how men are. No, Conscious, emotionally mature men don't do this. They understand that your depth isn't a bug to be fixed. It's a gift to be honored. When someone delivers a jab and then hides behind, "I'm just being honest," they're not practicing courage, they're practicing convenience. Honesty becomes a free pass to ignore timing, tone, and impact. They get to feel righteous while you're left questioning your worth. Stoicism values truth, but not as a blunt instrument. A Stoic life is one of candor and compassion, wisdom and justice. Truth without care is still harmful. As one Stoic teaching reminds us, we're disturbed less by events than by our judgments. So let's sharpen our judgment about what real honesty is. What weaponized honesty looks like. Here's the pattern you're watching for. Cuts at identity, not behavior. You're lazy. You're not that smart. You're not pretty without makeup. These aren't observations. They're character attacks. No timing awareness. The comment lands at the most vulnerable moment. Before a meeting, at a family gathering, right after you share a win. No specificity, no solution. It's vague and global. You always, you never, nothing you can work with. Moral camouflage. After you name the hurt, he says, "I'm just being honest," as if you should be grateful. That's not truth. That's manipulation with manners. 2 discernment questions. Use these to scan the moment quickly. 1. Does his honesty focus on behavior and solutions? Or is it a shot at your worth? 2. Is the truth timed with care? Or does it land like a sucker punch? If it's identity-based and badly timed, you're not dealing with candor. You're dealing with a person who outsources his discomfort to you. Set the standard in one sentence. You don't need a speech. You need a standard. Direct feedback helps when it's specific and respectful. If it gets personal or demeaning, I'll end the conversation. Or, talk to me about behavior and impact, not my character. If we can't do that, I'm stepping back. You're not closing the door on honesty. You're refining its delivery. The 2-week trial. Clarity over chaos. Give the relationship a fair, structured chance to improve. For 14 days. 1. Request the 3-part feedback format. Ask him to frame feedback with situation, right-pointing arrow, behavior, right-pointing arrow, impact, right-pointing arrow, next step. Example, in the car yesterday, situation, when you interrupted twice, behavior, I felt sidelined, impact. Next time, can we each finish before responding? Next step. 2. Track 3 metrics. O. Specificity. Are examples concrete? Could a third person understand what happened? O. Tone. Partnership. Let's fix this. Versus superiority. Let me tell you what's wrong with you. O. Repair. When he misfires, does he circle back with a repair attempt? 3. Journal every instance, briefly. O. What behavior was targeted? O. Was a solution proposed? O. What was the tone? O. Did clarity increase, or did you just feel smaller? 4. Review on day 7 and day 14. If the needle doesn't move, stop debating and start deciding. Don't work to earn kindness in a place that runs on cuts and qualifiers. Green flags versus red flags. Green flags. Keep investing. He asks 2 clarifying questions before responding. He paraphrases your perspective, so you felt dismissed when. He time checks. Is now a good time for feedback? He owns impact. I can see how that landed. Here's what I'll try next time. Red flags. Protect distance. He doubles down. You're proving my point. You're too sensitive. He generalizes. Everyone thinks this about you. Spoiler, they don't. He jokes it off. Relax, it was just a joke. He flips to moral superiority. I'm the only one honest enough to tell you. The boundary ladder, calm, simple, enforceable. 1. Clarify, first instance. That comment felt personal, not helpful. I'm open to specifics and solutions. 2. Request, second instance. Use the situation behavior impact next step format. Otherwise, I'll pause the conversation. 3. Enforce, third instance. I'm ending this conversation now. We can revisit when we're both ready to keep it respectful. 4. Decide, pattern persists. This dynamic undercuts me. I'm creating distance to protect my clarity. Notice what's missing. Threats, insults, theater. Stoic boundaries don't need volume to have power. A quick case study. You, I worked hard on that presentation. Him, honestly, it was kind of amateur hour, just being honest. Non-Stoic spiral. You defend yourself, list every effort you made, cry, apologize for crying, hours lost, confidence shaken. Stoic move, pause, one breath. Name impact, that landed as demeaning. Set standard. Feedback helps when it's specific and respectful. Invite specifics. Tell me one slide that missed the mark and what would strengthen it. Protect time. If we can't keep it constructive, I'm stepping away and we can revisit later. If he pivots to specifics, great. If he pivots to your character, boundary ladder, step 2. What if he is right? Sometimes the content is valid, but the delivery is trash. Here's the Stoic middle path. Extract the data, reject the dagger. I can use the note about slide 3 being cluttered. The personal digs stop here. Reward what you want to see. That suggestion to open with the customer story was helpful. Thank you. You're reinforcing how you want truth delivered. Invite timing. I'm about to present in 20 minutes. Can we debrief after? I'll be more receptive. You're not allergic to hard truths. You're allergic to humiliation. There's a difference. Rebuilding trust with your feelings. If I'm just being honest has been used on you long enough, your nervous system may brace for impact every time feedback appears. Let's recalibrate. Body check-in. Where do you feel it? Throat, chest, gut. Name it. Tight, hot, dull. Naming sensations grounds you. One sentence truth to yourself. I'm safe to evaluate this. I don't have to absorb it. Micro journal. Oh, what was said? Verbatim. Oh, what did I feel? One word. Oh, what do I need next time? One behavior. Oh, what decision will I make if the pattern repeats? This is how you rebuild the bridge between intuition and action. Feelings become inputs to wise decisions, not evidence against your stability. The workplace, family, and dating contexts. Work. Just being honest, you're not leadership material. Respond. Give me 2 specific gaps and a development path. If it turns personal, we'll end here. Family. Honestly, you've gained weight. Someone had to say it. Respond. My body isn't up for public review. If you're concerned about my well-being, ask how I'm doing, not how I look. Dating. I'm just honest. Other women don't mind. Respond. I'm not other women. If respect isn't your standard, we're not a match. You're not trying to win. You're screening for fit. A Stoic frame to hold it all. The dichotomy of control changes everything. You don't control his tongue. You control your standards, your exits, your attention. When honesty is offered with care, it builds trust. When it's offered with contempt, it fractures it. Both truths can exist. Hard truths can help, and demeaning delivery is unacceptable. So here's the compact rule set for your pocket. Truth is useful when it's specific, timely, and actionable. Truth is harmful when it's personal, poorly timed, and vague. You owe no one access to you while they learn the difference. Your 7-day practice plan. Day 1, write your 1-sentence standard and practice it out loud. Day 2, ask for the 3-part format the next time feedback appears. Day 3, track interactions. No essays, just check marks for specificity, tone, repair. Day 4, give 1 piece of kind candor yourself using the format. Model it. Day 5, rehearse ending a conversation calmly. We're not in a respectful lane. Let's pause. Day 6, body check in after any tough exchange. Name sensation, right pointing arrow, name need. Day 7, review your log. If the pattern improved, note it. If not, choose a boundary step. The bottom line: a loving person knows the difference between correction and humiliation. If someone cuts you down and calls it just being honest, they're not showing courage, they're showing emotional laziness. You are not required to absorb it, excuse it, or shapeshift to survive it. You can ask for candor with compassion, or you can walk. Truth, when wielded wisely, heals. Truth, when wielded carelessly, wounds. Your job is not to harden, it's to stay clear. If this resonated, stay for part 3. We'll take on the next phrase that masquerades as maturity, but chips away at your self-respect, and we'll equip you with responses you can use the moment you hear it. Stoicism isn't about being numb. It's about leading your life with a steady hand and a brave, open heart. 3. You're controlling. The phrase that tries to turn your clarity into a crime. You're controlling. You state a preference, you name a need, you draw a line, and then, boom, out comes the label. Suddenly, your standard is framed as a threat, and you're put on defense for doing the most reasonable thing in a relationship: communicating what you can and cannot participate in. Let's clear the fog. What's really happening when your boundary gets called control? Your autonomy is being mislabeled as manipulation. That's not an accident. It's a maneuver, conscious or not, to make you back away from your own clarity. And that's why this phrase is a red flag. Not because boundaries are bad, but because this response tries to train you to believe your standards are dangerous. A Stoic lens helps here. Stoicism reminds us that freedom lives in what we control, our judgments, choices, actions, not in what we don't, other people's impulses or preferences. A boundary isn't about forcing someone to do anything. It's about choosing your own participation. It's not coercion. It's character. Boundaries versus control. Clean definitions you can use on the spot. Boundary. Here's what I need to feel safe, respected, and connected. If that's not possible, here's what I'll do. It is self-referential and actionable. You're responsible for your side of the line. Control. You must change so I can feel okay. It is other referential and enforcement-based. You attempt to manage his behavior rather than your exposure. In healthy relationships, your partner may not always agree with your boundary, but he won't try to shame you for having one. He'll engage it, counterpropose, negotiate, or, if it's a no for him, own that choice without turning you into the villain. The gaslight mechanism, why you're controlling, feels so destabilizing. When your boundary is relabeled as control, 3 things happen. 1. Role reversal. You become the problem simply for naming a standard. 2. Avoidance. The actual behavior in question vanishes. Now you're debating your personality. 3. Erosion. You start second-guessing legitimate needs. Time, consistency, transparency, tenderness, until you shrink to stay reasonable. That's the trap. And Stoic practice gives you a clean way out. Return to specific behavior, clear impact, and your next action. A one-sentence reset when you hear, "You're controlling. This is my standard. You're free to decline. I'm free to choose accordingly." Simple, calm, non-reactive. You're not escalating. You're anchoring. You place the conversation back where it belongs, not on your character, but on the terms of connection. If you want a second option that's equally clean, I'm naming what I'll participate in. That isn't control, it's clarity. Use the boundary engagement score. No drama, just data. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, track how he engages your boundary. 0. Mocks or labels your need. You're dramatic. You're controlling. 1. Avoids the conversation. Deflects, changes subject, stonewalls. 2. Negotiates in good faith. Offers a counter-proposal, checks timing, asks questions. 3. Implements change consistently. Small, visible adjustments without being policed. You're not grading his worth as a person. You're measuring fit. If the score stays at 0 to 1 after you've been clear and fair, you're not in a relationship. You're in a tug of war for emotional sovereignty. If it moves to 2 to 3, you've got something to build on. The 2-checkpoint timeline. Week 1, clarify and request. Here's my boundary. Here's a workable compromise. Week 3, reassess. Did behavior change? Did tone soften? Are reminders decreasing? Consistency matters more than apology. Stoically speaking, action over assurances. What healthy engagement looks like. Green flags. Curiosity before defense. Help me understand why that matters to you. Counter proposals. If I can't call by 10 p.m., can I text so you know I'm safe? Time awareness. Is this a good time to revisit the plan for weekends? Repair attempts. I missed the mark last week. Here's what I'll try differently. What manipulation looks like. Red flags. Relabeling. You're controlling. You're policing me. You need to chill. Globalized attacks. You're always like this. Vague, unworkable. Punitive withdrawal. Sulking, silent treatment when you name a need. Bargaining with basics. Treating respect, kindness, or basic transparency as special favors. Case studies, so you can hear the difference. Scenario 1. Check-ins when arriving late. You. If you're running late, please call or text. I get anxious not hearing from you. Him, healthy. Fair. I'll set a reminder. If I forget, I'll own it and make it up. Him, labeling. You're controlling. I don't want to be on a leash. Your Stoic move. This is my standard. You're free to decline. I'm free to choose accordingly. Scenario 2. Social media boundaries. You. Please don't flirt in DMs. It undermines trust. Him, healthy. Understood. I'll unfollow anyone I've crossed lines with, and I'll share my plan. Him, labeling. You're insecure. Stop trying to control me. Your Stoic move. I'm not managing your choices. I'm deciding my exposure to them. Scenario 3. Quality time. You. I'd like one uninterrupted night a week. No phones. Him, healthy. Let's do Thursdays. If work intrudes, I'll give a day's notice. Him, labeling. You're controlling my schedule. Your Stoic move. This is how I experience connection. If that doesn't work, I'll recalibrate how much access I give. The boundary formula, use this structure verbatim. 1. Situation, name what's happening. 2. Impact, say how it lands briefly. 3. Standard, state the requirement. 4. Choice, offer freedom. 5. Consequence, own your action. Example: when plans change last minute. Situation: I feel sidelined. Impact: I need a heads-up. Standard: you're free to decline. Choice: if last-minute changes continue, I'll stop making time for same-day plans. Consequence: that's not control, that is governance of self. What if he calls even this controlling? Stay in lane. Repeat the distinction. Control tells you what to do. A boundary tells you what I'll do. If the label persists, move up the boundary ladder. 1. Clarify: I'm not labeling you, I'm naming my limits. 2. Request: are you willing to engage this boundary? If not, say so plainly. 3. Enforce: I'm pausing this conversation until we can discuss without labels. 4. Decide: since the pattern continues, I'm creating distance to protect my clarity. No yelling, no essays, just consequence. How Stoicism steadies you in the moment. Dichotomy of control: you don't control his reaction, you control your standard and your exit. Temperance: respond instead of react. One breath, one clear sentence. Justice: hold a fair expectation. Respect is not an upgrade, it's the baseline. Courage: keep your standard, even when approval isn't guaranteed. A tidy inner sentence to anchor yourself. My job is clarity, his job is choice. Reality will show me what to do next. Quick scripts you can memorize. 10-second reset. Let's stick to specifics. Here's the behavior, here's the impact, here's my standard. Freedom line: you're free to decide, so am I. Timeout line: we're not in a respectful lane, I'm pausing here. Exit line: this dynamic makes me smaller, I'm choosing distance. Journal prompts that convert feelings into decisions. What boundary did I set? Exact words. What does respectful engagement look like? 2 observable behaviors. What is my decision threshold? E.g., if I hear the label again after I've clarified twice, I'll reduce contact. Review dates: 1 week and 3 weeks from today. Did behavior change? Keep it short. Your journal is a dashboard, not a diary. Self-check: am I actually controlling? Honest audit, because Stoicism is anti-self-deception. Am I dictating his behavior or naming my participation? Is my request specific and proportionate? Have I offered a compromise? Am I prepared to follow through calmly if we don't align? If the answers are clean, you're not controlling, you're self-governing. And if someone continually calls your clarity control, you're not being difficult, you're becoming difficult to manipulate. That's a feature, not a bug. For women rebuilding trust with their needs. If this label has been thrown at you for years, your nervous system may equate needs with danger. Let's recalibrate. Body check. Name the sensation. Tight, hot, numb. 1 breath in, longer breath out. 1 sentence truth. I'm allowed to require respect. Next right action. Send 1 clear text. Make 1 clear request. Enforce 1 small consequence. Don't leap, stack. It is not controlling to want consistency. It is not controlling to need space, safety, or structure. What's controlling is trying to guilt you out of self-respect. A Stoic woman honors both freedom and consequence. You don't force outcomes, you choose your exits. So the next time you hear "you're controlling," remember, Boundaries protect connection. Labels protect convenience. Choose connection with yourself first. 4. I'm not ready for a relationship. Let's unpacking red flag 4, the most polished loophole in modern dating. I'm not ready for a relationship, or I'm not looking for anything serious right now, while behaving like a boyfriend. He holds your hand. He texts good morning and good night. He leans on you for support. He introduces you to friends, maybe even family. There's intimacy, plans, routines, the shape of a relationship, minus the structure and responsibility of one. And when commitment comes up, the line returns, I'm just not ready. This isn't always malicious, but it is a dynamic that drains your energy because the words and the structure don't match. In Stoic terms, it erodes your agency. You slowly trade your time, attention, and emotional labor for hopes and hypotheticals. You start negotiating against your own needs because you're afraid that asking for clarity will scare him away. A Stoic woman doesn't punish or plead. She observes, measures, and decides. Let's do that now. Why this phrase is a red flag, only when paired with partner behavior. By itself, I'm not ready, can be honest. People move at different speeds. The red flag appears when partner-level access continues without partner-level commitment. That mismatch is not confusion. It's convenience. As Marcus Aurelius put it, if it isn't right, don't do it. If it isn't true, don't say it. In relationships, that means don't accept partner obligations without partner agreements. What he often means but doesn't say, I want connection without accountability. Benefits without structure. That setup keeps you available, emotionally and physically, while he avoids the consequences of definition. The Stoic lens, clarity over comfort. Stoicism doesn't tell you to numb out, it tells you to live by standards. You can't control someone else's timeline, but you can control the terms under which you invest. Epictetus would remind us, focus on what's within your control, your judgments, boundaries, and exits. So we're not here to label him a villain. We're here to label the dynamic. Is it a partnership or a loophole? It's about making invisible costs visible, so your choices are informed. Clarity without combat, the one-sentence standard. When the topic turns to commitment and you hear the line, try this. I invest at partner level when there's partner structure, clear definition, exclusivity, and near-term plans. If we're not there, I'll adjust my availability. You're not punishing him. You're aligning your investment with reality. Calm, clean, enforceable. A second option. I'm not rushing you. I'm regulating me. If commitment isn't on your timeline, I'll shift how much access I give. Clarity isn't pressure. It's criteria. Green flags versus red flags. Green flags. Stay curious. He names a timeline and sticks to incremental steps. He adds structure without you project managing it. He initiates repair after conflict and follows through. He volunteers exclusivity or future plans. Red flags. Protect your peace. He says labels don't matter while collecting your labor. He calls clarity pressure, but expects access. He uses back burner language. Let's just see, why complicate this? He rewards your standards with distance, then returns when you soften them. Remember, you're not auditioning for permanence. You're screening for partnership. Case studies. Hear the difference. Scenario A, the nightly texter. He texts every night, sleeps over most weekends, but dodges the conversation. I invest at partner level with partner structure. If we're not defining this by next month, I'll scale back so it fits reality. Healthy reply, fair. Let's put exclusivity in place and plan 2 dates a week. Loophole reply, why rush? This is good as is. Your move, taper. If clarity doesn't appear, exit. Scenario B, the family integrator. He brings you to his sister's barbecue but calls you a friend in front of everyone. I enjoy time with your people. I won't join family events without a defined relationship. That's my boundary. If he values your presence, he'll name it. If he values ambiguity, he'll keep you useful but undefined. Scenario C, the career-heavy schedule. He's not ready because work is intense, yet he expects weekly intimacy and daily support. I can respect a heavy season. Let's do 1 date a week, Sunday planning, and revisit in 2 weeks. If it's still not moving, I'll step back. Work can be demanding and a relationship can be defined. If he can plan a product sprint, he can plan a date. Journal prompts, turn feelings into decisions. What are my bare minimums for commitment right now? Pick 3. Where am I giving partner access without partner agreements? Be specific. What will I change this week to realign energy with reality? What is my review date? Set one, then honor it. If nothing changes by the review date, what will I do? Decide now, not in the heat. Seneca warned that we don't have too little time. We waste a lot of it. Don't waste it in almost that keep you small. Self-audit. Am I rushing or am I settling? Rushing is demanding a timeline that ignores reality. Settling is providing unlimited access without any reality. Aim for the middle, a fair ask, a reasonable window, and real consequences if alignment doesn't come. The calm truth. A man who isn't ready for a relationship and keeps partner-level access is not unsure. He's undecided on purpose. You don't have to call him a bad person. You only have to call the dynamic unsustainable. Then return to what you control: your standards, your availability, and your exits. A compact mantra for your pocket. I won't stay in confusion hoping it becomes clarity. I will make the call that confusion is information. If he won't choose the relationship, you get to choose how long you'll wait and what access you'll offer in the meantime. That isn't punishment. That's self-respect. 5. You've changed. We're closing the series with the quietest and often most devastating phrase, you've changed. Said not with wonder, but with a sting. Sometimes those words are offered as a mirror, an observation, even a celebration. But when they arrive as criticism, heavy with disappointment and accusation, pause, because change isn't the problem. Change is the point. Growth is the whole project of a life well lived. The Stoics didn't ask us to fossilize. They asked us to live by principles, then keep refining them. Marcus Aurelius put it simply: be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Part of being strict with yourself is honoring your evolution, even when it disrupts a dynamic that used to benefit someone else. Why you've changed as a critique is a red flag. When a partner frames your growth as a flaw, the hidden message is often, I preferred you smaller, quieter, easier to manage, less aware of your power. Maybe you're setting boundaries, pursuing a degree, renegotiating your time, saying no to patterns that drained you, or simply carrying yourself with more clarity. If his response to that is not curiosity but control masked as nostalgia, you're not dealing with misalignment. You're bumping into insecurity. Let's name what's really happening in that moment. Your evolution threatens the relationship as it was. the version where your needs were softer, your standards lower, your schedule more flexible around his life. He's asking implicitly or explicitly for a rollback to an earlier release of you, the draft that quietly absorbed, accommodated, and complied. The phrase "you've changed" becomes a lever to make you distrust your own growth so the old dynamic can resume. That's not love. That's possession. Real love doesn't demand that you cancel your becoming. It learns to dance with it. A Stoic frame to stay steady. Stoicism says, focus on what is yours to control, your judgments, your actions, your standards, and accept reality as data. Your growth is yours to govern. His reaction is his. You don't have to win an argument about whether change is good. You only have to decide whether a relationship that punishes growth is compatible with the person you're becoming. Epictetus again. First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. If the new you is clearer, braver, and more boundaried, then your behavior must reflect that, even if it makes someone uncomfortable. A grounded, one-sentence response. When you've changed lands as a criticism, answer with calm clarity, yes, I'm growing, on purpose. If that no longer aligns with you, I understand. I won't shrink to soothe discomfort. You're not defensive. You're not debating your right to evolve. You're stating a standard. If you want a second option that invites dialogue without conceding your growth, if there's a specific change that's harmful, name it and bring an example. If it's my confidence or boundaries you miss, that won't be undone. This separates useful feedback from control requests. Discernment test, feedback or control. Use these two filters. 1. Specificity. Is he naming a concrete, harmful behavior with dates, contexts, and impact? Since you started the new job, we've had no time together on weekends, and I feel disconnected. Or is it vague and global? You're different now. You're cold. 2. Solution focus. Does he pair the observation with a path forward? Can we protect one evening a week? Or does he stop at criticism that asks you to get smaller? If the change is specific and harmful, be strict with yourself and consider an adjustment. If it's vague and identity level, he's not asking for repair. He's asking for reversal. The Growth Support Index, GSI, measure what matters. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, score how your partner engages with your evolution. Each item 0 to 3. 0 equals not at all. 3 equals consistently and clearly. 1. Encouragement. Does he celebrate milestones, ask about progress, show up for events? 2. Adaptability. Does he flex schedules, share chores, or rearrange routines to support new commitments? 3. Curiosity. Does he ask questions before judging? What does this change give you? What do you need from me? 4. Shared planning. Does he help anchor time together, putting dates, trips, or rituals on the calendar? 5. Repair when threatened. When he feels insecure, does he name it and seek solutions, or sulk, sabotage, or go silent? Add it up. A high GSI means you're evolving together. A low GSI means you're evolving while being emotionally taxed for doing so. The grief layer. Name it so it doesn't own you. Growth can be lonely. You might grieve the version of the relationship you hoped would survive your evolution. Grieve. Don't shrink. It's okay to feel sadness about what could have been while refusing to erase yourself to save it. Courage here looks like holding two truths. This matters to me, and I matter to me. Case studies so you can hear the difference. A. Returning to school. You're taking night classes. He says, you've changed. You're obsessed with your career. Stoic responds, I'm investing in my future. If you miss me, let's protect Friday nights and plan study-friendly dates. I won't abandon the program. Data point. Does he step into planning or keep repeating the line? B. Strength training and boundaries. You start lifting, you sleep earlier, you drink less. He says, you're no fun anymore. Stoic response, I feel stronger and clearer. Fun can look different. Hikes, daytime plans. If late nights are your non-negotiable, say so, I'll choose accordingly. Data point, does he adapt or punish your health? C. Family dynamics. You stop over-functioning for his family. He says you've changed. You're cold to my mom. Stoic response, I'm stepping back from obligations that left me resentful. I'll be respectful, not available on demand. If there's a specific instance to repair, name it. Data point, does he bring specifics or demand a total rollback? Scripts you can memorize. Mirror plus boundary. Yes, I'm changing. Intentionally, I won't revert to make us comfortable. Invite specifics. Name the behavior, time, and impact. Let's design a fix. Protect progress. This growth stays. I can flex logistics, not my values. Exit clarity. If my evolution and your comfort can't coexist, I'll choose the path that keeps me whole. Keep them under 15 seconds. Calm tone. No essays. Stoic boundaries don't shout. They stand. The 2-conversation rule. Give the relationship a fair chance to recalibrate. Conversation 1. Discovery. Here's how I've changed and why it matters. What do you need to feel connected as we adapt? Book a follow-up. Conversation 2. Decision. Approximately 10 to 14 days later. What have we tried? What changed? What still hurts? Here's what I'm keeping. Here's what I can flex. If our needs still conflict, let's release gracefully. If, after 2 calm conversations, he keeps undermining your progress, it's no longer about compatibility. It's control masquerading as connection. Boundaries to protect your evolution. Time. Block non-negotiable windows for your growth. Class, gym, therapy, creative work. Energy. Reduce access after repeated belittling. Proximity is earned by respect. Narrative. Refuse identity labels. Selfish, cold, career-obsessed. Return to specifics. Consequences. Enforceable. If belittling continues, I'll leave the conversation. If it persists across the week, I'll reduce contact. Self-audit, because Stoicism rejects self-deception. Ask yourself, is my change aligned with my values, or am I avoiding intimacy under the banner of growth? Have I offered fair adaptations that keep connection alive? Am I asking him to support me in ways I also reciprocate? If we truly want different lives now, can I grieve that and still choose mine? If your answers are clean, keep going. You're not difficult. You're becoming difficult to manipulate. Journal prompts. Turn feelings into decisions. What growth am I protecting right now? Name it. Name it. What support do I need? 2 specific behaviors. What evidence shows that support exists or doesn't? What will I do if the support is absent after 2 conversations? What sentence will I say to myself on hard days? Recommitment or release? Both can be loving. If he can meet your evolution with curiosity, adaptation, and shared planning, recommit with intention. Try a 30-day growth-aware plan. 1 date for celebration, your wins, 1 for connection, his world. one for dreaming, joint goals. If he cannot or will not meet you there, release without rage. We've reached a fork. I'm grateful for what we had. I won't suspend my becoming. I'm choosing forward. That isn't cruelty. That's clarity. The calm truth to carry forward. Change will cost you old versions of yourself, and sometimes old versions of us. A partner who loves you will not worship your past at the expense of your future. He'll evolve with you, not punish you for becoming. A compact mantra for your pocket. Real partners evolve together. They don't punish each other for becoming. You don't owe anyone the first draft of you, especially if that draft was unsure, overgiving, or unexpressed. Protect what is emerging. Honor what is ending. And as Seneca reminds us, keep learning how to live for as long as you live. This is the work of a Stoic woman, not hardness, but honest governance of self. If "you've changed" is used to make you smaller, let that be your signal, not to shrink, but to stand in intentional clarity. Thank you for spending this time with us. Comment the line you've heard most and the boundary you're setting next. If you'd like more calm, practical Stoic tools each week, you're welcome to subscribe and turn on the bell. Until next time, choose clarity, honor your boundaries, and lead with a steady heart.